Welcome to Realizing Real Estate. Each week we will be issuing a new edition, an interview with an investor, developer, business leader, government official, scholars, and others, all who in some way impact the world of real estate and the quality of your investment. Real estate has many facets. We will explore many of them in these brief podcasts. Every one of our guests will be interviewed in greater depth and length on our weekly radio show, Our House, which is broadcast every Saturday at 9 a.m. on WBN 930 a.m. and 98.5 FM HD3 in the Buffalo Niagara Marketplace, but is accessible anywhere in the world on the Odyssey app or at WBN.com. All of Realizing Real Estate podcasts are available at the iTunes Store, and our House radio shows are archived on our blog at huntrealestate.com. Join us every week and give us your feedback and suggestions for future topics, also at huntrealestate.com. Welcome to Realizing Real Estate. This is Peter Hunt, and this is one of our weekly podcasts during which we explore some aspect of our community relative to the mission of all of our programming, which is to help you protect and enhance your investment in real estate in whatever community you may live in. And today we've got a very special segment for you with Trina Burruss, who is the President and Chief Executive Officer of the United Way of Buffalo and Erie County. And the reason why this is so important is that what Trina will address really addresses a segment of our society that really perhaps maybe the more disenfranchised segment of our society when it comes to real estate. And one of the great opportunities that we have in America today is to build generational wealth, which often comes through owning real estate. So Trina, tell us a little about you first.
So as you said, currently I'm the President and CEO of United Way, but there are folks who will know me more probably from my 3 decades in banking, but I'm a lifelong Buffalonian and graduate of Buffalo Public Schools and proud of it.
Well, it's good to have you here this morning with us. You've spoken about many aspects of what the United Way does, but let's start with kind of a fundamental premise that you're operating from, and that there's a lot of people out there in our society that have a job, but their income is such that they can't earn above a certain level, after which they would lose benefits. And this is called ALICE, the Asset Limited Income Constrained Employed Individuals or families out there in our community. What is the limit? How much can they earn before they fall into that category where they lose the benefits?
Yeah. So generally speaking, to give you an example, someone who makes $40 more because they've taken a promotion or they've worked overtime, they might lose $300 or more in some other benefit. And so when your employee is giving you what you might perceive as mixed messages, you want to make more money, but then you don't take the opportunity to make more money, it's because of this concept, the benefits cliff. And they might, it's not just about food, it could be child care assistance, it could be any number of things that not having the $40 in my example is just bad math, right?
Mm-hmm. So they might not even know that they've crossed that threshold.
They might not. And so, and there's also the problem of who do you tell? How do you talk? Do you go to your employer and tell them that? Most folks would not. Most folks would hesitate, to do that. Not just because they're embarrassed perhaps that they're getting a safety net, but many of us don't walk around talking about our finances with our employer.
Yeah, you've spoken about this, a work-life employer. Tell us about that, and how does that dovetail into what you just said?
Yeah. So with Work-Life Solutions, we're looking at, the employee might come and say, I'm having an issue with taking care of my parent. So I can't work as much just because I can't take care of my parent. Forget whether or not there's a benefits cliff. We would give them access or tell them information about resources that were available to them to find help to, take care of their aging parent, for example. We've talked a lot about 211. 211 is a community resource, regardless of your social economic background or the money you make, whatever the case. 211 is a community resource to help navigate those life issues. So there's lots of resources out there. The issue is connecting the people who have the issue with the resources that are available that might help them.
I started this discussion by talking about the mission of our programming, which is to help people protect and enhance their investment in real estate. Sometimes that investment takes the form of rent. And yet we know we have, in this society right now, all across this country, in every city, every community, there's a housing shortage. You must hear about this all the time. Is there a specific way that United Way is addressing that issue?
We hear this so often, and recently we've been working to try to figure out, is it really true that we don't have rental units, for example, for folks? And what we're realizing is, yes, the supply is an issue, but also it's figuring out how to have the landlord have the things that they need and to have the renter or the individual have the things that they need.
So that it's affordable and acceptable
So
housing.
It's affordable and acceptable, and that everybody at the end of the day has their goal met. The landlord's goal is to have the house or the unit rented, right? The person's goal is to live in that place, but the landlord needs certain protections, right? The landlord wants to know that their property is going to be taken care of and all the things. And the tenant wants to know that the landlord is going to take care of the unit and make the unit safe for them to be there. So United Way's role in something like that would be to bring those issues together in a room and talk it out, talk it through, to say what can we do, what resources might be available to help both sides sort of be whole, right?
So you act as a mediator in some cases.
Very often.
Take that to the next level. You've got a stable family, couple, individual in that apartment. They've got themselves beyond, the Alice level. Can you help them get to home ownership?
Well, we've got many partnerships and many friends, such as Hunt Real Estate, right, that we would want to connect folks to. We want folks to know that there are folks out there, subject matter experts, that they shouldn't be intimidated by, right? If you think about it, your team of realtors at Hunt, you all want folks to buy houses, right?
Sure.
So therefore, you are going to be free with the information that it takes for folks to navigate the system.
Every chance we get.
That's right. So folks have to understand that they shouldn't be afraid or intimidated because there's a common goal. When you realize there's a common goal, then maybe you're not afraid or intimidated to ask questions if you understand that you're both motivated by the same thing. You want the house sold and they want to buy one.
Which is the name of the game. That's why we build generational wealth in the society. Mm-hmm. So Trina Burruss, how could our listeners of this podcast, how could they reach you if they wanted to learn more about the United Way?
So they can certainly reach out to me personally at my email, which is trina.burruss@uwbec.org. They can also go to our website. But I will tell your listeners to stay tuned. In a couple of weeks, there's going to be a really super nice website available. Right now, the website it's a website.
A little clunky.
Right. It's a little clunky. It tells you everything about the United Way, but you were afraid to ask. So we are working very diligently to get that into a place where it's a resource for the community.
Trina Burruss, President and CEO of the United Way of Buffalo and Erie County. Thank you very much for being with us today. Participating in our podcast. We'll be back again soon with our next podcast. I want to thank our listeners for helping us to realize real estate.